Mike Kohanam here. Today I'm going to talk about what I think is the most underused, underrated, and most powerful deck in Yu-Gi-Oh! Duel Links right now. The deck I'm talking about is Chazz Princeton's Armed Crossover deck. This is an Armed Dragon deck that also effectively uses Dark Armed Dragon. On the last update to the Forbidden and Limited list, Dark Armed Dragon itself was removed from Limited 3 status, which has allowed you to use other Limited 3 cards like Crackdown and Ice Dragon's Prison in the deck, which makes it a lot stronger, since its biggest weakness was going first and not having the ability to create that strong of a first turn setup. Now when you're going first, you can very consistently end your first turn with Armed Dragon Thunder level 10, which is a disruptive card that can destroy any card your opponent has on the field during your opponent's turn, and also are likely to have a back row that can help either disrupt your opponent's turn or at least help you survive to your next turn when you're able to drop Dark Armed Dragon to win the duel, or Armed Dragon level 10 white to either win the duel or completely clear your opponent's field. Without a doubt, this deck is stronger going second because it can so easily drop Dark Armed Dragon to clear your opponent's field and just OTK the opponent. The same holds true for Armed Dragon level 10 white, which pretty easily hits the field, helps to clear some cards, and combined with another monster, or even just combined with the Armed Dragon Lightning spell card, can very easily OTK your opponent. Since you are obviously not able to choose whether you go first or second, because this is Duel Links, and it entirely depends on the coin flip, you have to be ready for both. Very quickly, I'll go through the basic combos of the deck. It's a very easy deck to play. The 1-2 punch of the deck, you want to start with Armed Dragon Thunder level 3 and Armed Dragon Thunder level 5. If you draw either of those two cards, you can use the skill to get the other one. And that's just one of the many things that Chazz's Armed Crossover skill does. Once you have both of them, the line of play is pretty easy. You can summon Armed Dragon Thunder level 3, discard Armed Dragon Thunder level 5 to upgrade your level 3 into a level 5 from the deck. Then 5's effect will activate, allowing you to get 7. 7 goes to your hand through the effect of the discarded 5, and then you can upgrade your 5 into 7 by discarding the Armed Dragon Thunder level 7 that you previously added to your hand. Once you do that, you'll have Armed Dragon Thunder level 7. You'll be able to use the effect of the 7 you discarded, and that will allow you to add any Armed Dragon card to your hand, including Dark Armed Dragon, which you can instantly drop thanks to the Armed Crossover skill, which I'll talk about later. Allows you to get Armed Dragon level 10 white if you want it. And most often gets you Armed Dragon Lightning, which is a continuous spell card that can either increase the attack of one of your Armed Dragon monsters or return an Armed Dragon monster from your graveyard to your hand. If you get the Armed Dragon Lightning, you can then use it, target on your Armed Dragon Thunder level 7 to return the Armed Dragon level 3 from your graveyard to your hand, and then discard the 3 to upgrade your 7 into 10. The 3's effect will activate to draw a card, and since you've thinned so many cards out of your deck through this line of play, your odds of drawing something that will be useful during your opponent's turn is actually pretty high. So using 3 limited 3 cards is nice. Even if you don't start with it, you might draw it off the effect of the Armed Dragon Thunder level 3. In addition, the Armed Dragon Lightning has an effect that can replace the destruction of one of your Armed Dragon monsters. So it also can have an impact during your opponent's turn to help protect your card, or even during your own turn to help protect your own card. So going first, you typically want to end with Armed Dragon Thunder level 10 on your field, since it has a quick effect that can destroy any card on your opponent's field once per turn during their turn, as well as a bunch of protective effects, where it can't be destroyed by battle if it was properly summoned, and control of it can't be switched, which is relevant for cards like Crackdown. But if you're going second, you're typically not going into Armed Dragon Thunder level 10, whose effect is most potent on the opponent's turn. Instead, you're typically using the effect of a discarded Armed Dragon Thunder level 7 to search your deck for either Dark Armed Dragon or Armed Dragon level 10 white, which will just help clear your opponent's field and just defeat your opponent in one turn. These cards are so easy to drop onto the field thanks to the Armed Crossover skill, which I'll talk about now. Okay, at its core, the Armed Crossover skill lets you send a monster from your hand to your graveyard to add a level monster from your deck to your hand. So that's the simplest thing it does. It helps you get that Armed Dragon Thunder level 3 consistently to get the deck up and running. It can get you 5 if you are already have level 3 to start to summon the 3 and then start the chain of building up to 10 while searching for other relevant cards. And it can get Armed Dragon level 10 white, which is just an incredible card that you can special summon from your hand by banishing Armed Dragon monsters from your graveyard and field, so typically just graveyard, to special summon it. It has 3,000 attack, and it destroys a card when it attacks. It also searches for White Veil, which gets added to the deck from the skill. And White Veil actually does come in handy once in a while, since it stops the effects of spells and traps when it's equipped to a monster that attacks. Not the most useful thing, but since it's added to the deck for free with the skill, and you search for it for free with Armed Dragon level 10 white, it's useful to have. And once in a while, it does come in handy. The other thing that this skill does is add Armed Dragon level 3, Armed Dragon level 5, Armed Dragon level 7, Armed Dragon level 10, and the White Veil I mentioned earlier to your deck. These are the original Armed Dragon monsters, so they're not particularly useful, but they do synergize with the other effect of this skill, which allows you to send two Armed Dragon monsters whose total level is equal to 10 to your graveyard. It's actually up to 2, so you could send the Armed Dragon level 10 to your graveyard alone, but you're typically not going to do that. You're typically going to send 2. I typically send the original Armed Dragon level 3 and original Armed Dragon level 7 added to the deck by the effect, so that I don't have to draw them. Then the next thing that this skill does is the most insane thing ever. It lets you just choose 3 of those monsters in your graveyard, and it makes them dark. Just so that you can drop Dark Armed Dragon anytime you draw it. Which is insane. So Dark Armed Dragon has 2,800 attack points, and you can just special summon from your hand if you have exactly 3 dark monsters in your graveyard. If for some reason you already have a dark monster in your graveyard, when you activate this skill, for example, you have a Dark Armed Dragon in there for some reason, you can choose less than 3 to make dark. Activating the skill pretty much just guarantees you can special summon Dark Armed Dragon from your hand. 2,800 attack, and as many times as you want per turn, you can banish a dark monster from your graveyard to destroy a card on your opponent's field. Since you're always going to have 3 dark monsters in the graveyard when you summon it, that's 3 cards immediately destroyed on your opponent's field. If you have multiple copies of Dark Armed Dragon, you can drop both of them on your field, one after another, before you banish any with their effects. So Dark Armed Dragon is insane, and this deck uses it so effectively that it's remarkable. I kept the deck down to 20 cards to raise the odds of drawing not just Dark Armed Dragon, but also Armed Dragon level 3 and or Armed Dragon level 5, rather Armed Dragon Thunder 3 and 5. I am using 2 copies of Forbidden Lance to protect Dark Armed Dragon so it can destroy multiple cards, as well as protect the Armed Dragon Thunder level 3. And the forms that it levels up in, 2, so that you can continue to level up and eventually get that Armed Dragon Thunder level 7 search when you discard it to level up again. As I mentioned before, I am using the full 3 allowed copies of limited 3 cards to help that turn 1 going first play. If you can set one of those back row cards, it'll greatly improve the odds of surviving to your next turn, so that you're able to just drop Dark Armed Dragon and win. I have a full extra deck here. You can pretty much ignore it, especially if you're just learning the deck. In my entire climb to Duelist level max, I never access the extra deck. More times than not, your monsters on the field, Dark Armed Dragon level 10 white, and Armed Dragon Thunder level 10 are just stronger than the cards you're summoning from the extra deck. The skill does, however, allow you to use those cards in the extra deck, so they are there. The skill requires you to use 10 or more wind armed dragon monsters, and no monsters other than armed dragon monsters or normal monsters, but it excludes the extra deck entirely. So you could put whatever extra deck monsters you'd like into your extra deck. Now I'll show some replays and talk about the moves that the deck makes. I saved some of the matches in the final stretch to Duelist level max. And I think if you're interested in playing this deck, watching these replays will be helpful for learning the deck. So like I mentioned before, going first, your goal is typically to summon level 10, Armed Dragon Thunder level 10. Going second, your goal is really to just kill your opponent. Simple as that. So in this duel, I'm forced to go first. I run a lot of monsters in this deck because the worst hands are the ones in which you don't have a monster to discard with the Arm Crossover skill and can't get the deck up and running. This hand of 4 cards looks like a complete brick, but because of the skill, I was able to discard a monster, get the level 3, summon 3, and then discard 5 to level up to 5, use 5's effect to get 7, discard 7 to level up to 7, use 7's effect to get the spell card, Armed Dragon Lightning, use Armed Dragon Lightning to return 3 to my hand, and then upgrade 3, discard 3 to upgrade 7 into 10. My opponent does fusion summon this huge guy, Ancient Gear Megaton Golem, so I use my Armed Dragon level 10's effect to destroy it. That lets him summon a monster with 4,400 attack points. But the Armed Dragon Thunder level 10 can't be destroyed in battle if it has at least 100 attack points and was properly summoned. So he can't beat me on his first turn, and then on my next turn, I just summon 2 Dark Armed Dragons because I have 3 Dark Monsters in the graveyard from when I used Armed Crossover on the previous turn. So here's another duel. This one was at Duelist level 18. This is against a Speedroid deck. If they end their turn with just Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon on the field, you can usually play through that because you can use more than one relevant monster effect to easily just overpower it, and they can only negate one of them. If they end with Clearwing Synchro Dragon as well, it's a bit tougher. What I found is typically you're just trying to drop Dark Armed and destroy it, and then hope that they can't beat you on their next turn. So, on his first turn, all he drops is the Crystal Wing. So I summon level 3, use its effect, summon level 5, discarding 5. The 5 I discarded gets 7, use 5's effect to upgrade it to 7, and then 7's effect gets me a second Dark Armed Dragon. I already have one in my opening hand. I use Armed Crossover to get Armed Dragon level 10 white, send 2 monsters from my deck to my graveyard, and make 3 monsters dark. So now I have 2 Dark Arms, Armed Dragon level 10 white, and the 8 on the field. So he can only negate 1 monster effect. So he uses Book of Moon on 1 Dark Armed Dragon, Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon's effect on the second Dark Armed Dragon, and then can't stop the Armed Dragon level 10 white, which destroys a card when it attacks. So that destroys the Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon, and he used everything he had to set up that field. So here's a Duelist level 19 duel. This is against the Toon deck, which I find to be a pretty easy matchup because you can continuously destroy Toon Kingdom with Dark Armed Dragon's effect. As you'll see, at this point I was on a 12-win streak with this deck. Once again, my hand would be a complete brick if not for the Arm Crossover skill, but fortunately this deck is only made playable by that skill. So I use it to get the Armed Dragon Thunder level 3 from my deck, summon 3. I already had 5 in my hand, so I'm able to discard 5, level up to 5, search for 7, discard 7, level up to 7, use 7's effect to search my deck for the Spell card, Armed Dragon Lightning. Armed Dragon Lightning brings back 3, and I'm able to discard 3 to upgrade to Armed Dragon Thunder level 10, unfortunately drawing White Veil with the effect of the discarded 3. So he uses Toon World, uses Toon Kingdom, summons Red Eyes Toon Dragon, special summons Blackluster Soldier, and at that point I just use the level 10's effect to destroy Toon Kingdom. He uses the Blackluster Soldier to get rid of my level 10, but I have Dark Armed Dragon, and he tries to stop with Briefcase, but I have the Lance. Even if I didn't have the Lance, I had the Armed Dragon level 10 White, so I'm almost certainly still would have won, because White's effect would have destroyed the Toon Blackluster Soldier, and its attack would have destroyed the Red Eyes. So this deck can just throw so much power on the field, even when your opponent can stop one card at a time with one of their cards at a time. It just has so much power that it's hard to overcome. Here's another of my saved duels. On a 13-win streak. So I started with 3 and 5 here, but I'm actually going second this time, which is the preferred position for this deck to be in. I'll fast forward a bit through his turn. This is the Tenyi deck. He gains 3,000 life points. And he ends his turn with the Berserker, the Tenyi on the field, as well as cards that protect it. He has Shatana, which can special summon it back, and Mapura, which can negate the activation of a card that targets it. So there is quite a bit to navigate through here, but this hand can do it, no problem. So I summon 3, discard 5, level up. 5's effect searches for 7. I'm going to discard 7, level up. 7's effect, since I'm second, well, in this instance, I took Armed Dragon Lightning anyway to go for 10, because destroying that in battle seemed to be the best course of play, given the cards in his graveyard. Typically, you'll get another Dark Armed or an Armed Dragon level 10 White, but he had a lot of cards to stop that here. So I special summoned Dark Armed, and I went straight for the back rows, since if I targeted his normal monster, he'd be able to take down the Dark Armed Dragon with the effect from his grave. Then I destroyed his special summoned Shuna using Dark Armed again, and I attack his Berserker of the Tenyi with level 10, who can't be destroyed in battle, and he uses the effect of the Water Tenyi to special summon it back and destroy a card, but it's just not enough, because this deck just throws so much power out. And here's the last one that I saved. It looks like it's another Speedroid matchup. I'm going second again in this duel. This I was on a 14-win streak here. So winning this got me onto a 15 consecutive win streak right into Duelist level max. So we'll fast forward over his turn, see where he ends. So this is the duel where he actually ends with Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon and Clear Wing Synchro Dragon. I have level 10 in my hand, but since I'm second, I have no problem just tossing it away. Because my goal would be to power through it without summoning level 10. I do have Ice Dragon's Prison in this hand, which is really good. But I immediately use the Armed Crossover skill. That gets 3 Darks into the grave. I play the Armed Dragon Lightning for protection before dropping Dark Armed, since if he had a card that destroys Dark Armed, the Lightning can protect it. He uses Mystical Space Typhoon to destroy it, uses another one on Ice Dragon's Prison later in the turn. Dark Armed just attacks the Clear Wing, since he'd be able to negate monster effects. And since he's not able to beat me on that turn, I get another turn. And I'm able to level up 3 into 5 into 7, search for Dark Armed again. This is pretty cool. I use Armed Dragon level 10 White's effect to banish, by banishing the level 10 from the grave, which is a 4th dark monster, since I had discarded and sent it to the graveyard, which then brings it down to 3, so I can special summon Dark Armed and use its effect to destroy Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon, clearing the field so I can win the duel and rank up to the duelist level max. So yeah, that's the deck. It's extremely underused, extremely underrated. I've never run into it in the Kaiba Cup. I don't know, people just aren't playing it, and I don't really understand why, because it's so powerful. I think that the removal of Dark Armed Dragon from the limited 3 list definitely made this deck a lot stronger very recently. But if you're interested in the deck, try it out. It's not hard to play. It does take a little long because you're constantly discarding cards to level up, so that gets kind of annoying. But just watch the clock in your game, make sure you don't time out, and you'll see that this is a very powerful deck. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel and like the video on YouTube. It'll encourage me to make more videos like it. If you have any questions, you can ask in the comments, and I'll be happy to answer them.